All right, to start tonight's notes, I'd like you to try to simplify 5 expressions for me as much as you can. First, we've got 3 plus 4. Then we've got negative 5 times 3 plus 4. Remember that order of operations, PEMDAS, tells us that we should try to simplify what's happening inside our parentheses as much as possible first. Then we've got 3x plus 4x. Then we've got negative 5 times 3x plus 4x. And then we've got negative 5 times 3x plus 4. Do me a favor, simplify those 5 things. Hit pause, I should say, and then simplify those 5 things, and then come back to the video. All right, welcome back to the video. We're going to go ahead and run through each of these 5 examples now. 3 plus 4 is 7. Yeah, you know that one. For the second expression, we simplify inside our parentheses 4 first. 3 plus 4 is 7. We've still got this multiplication by 5 happening. So we've got negative 5 times 7, which is going to be negative 35. For the next problem, we've just got combining like terms, right? 3x plus 4x makes 7x. Then on the next problem, we've got 3x plus 4x inside our parentheses. So PEMDAS tells us we can go inside there and simplify that first. 3x plus 4x is 7x. We've still got that multiplication times negative 5. So we've got negative 5 times 7x, which is negative 35x. All right. Now this last one, PEMDAS would tell us to simplify inside our parentheses, but the inside of our parentheses is already simplified as much as possible because we can't combine 3x and 4. So then we would look outside the parentheses to do this multiplication. So the question is, how do we deal with the multiplication between negative 5 and this group of numbers, 3x plus 4? Well, the answer to that question is that in order to evaluate a multiplication, which is all this is just a multiplication of negative 5 times 3x plus 4. In order to evaluate that multiplication, when we can't simplify the expression inside of the parentheses, oops, that should be an E. I can never spell that word right. We use a tool called distribution, and you've probably heard of it before, but here's an important point that I want to make about distribution. Distribution is not actually a new thing. All distribution is fancy multiplication. All right? All that distribution is it's a multiplication tool. Multiplication. I can spell and talk at the same time, I swear. Multiplication, see, there's the rest of that word. All right, so all we're doing is we're learning how to do a multiplication. In order to do this new kind of multiplication, this distribution, what we have to make sure we do is we have to multiply every term inside of the parentheses. We have to multiply every one of those terms by the term on the outside of our parentheses. In other words, if we have negative 5 times 3x plus 4, we would have negative 5 times the 3x, and we would have negative 5 times the 4. Each of those terms has to get multiplied by the negative 5. So what we end up with is negative 15x minus 20. Do me a favor and try these next 3 problems on your own. We've got 2 times 5x minus 8. We've got 4 times x plus 7. And negative 3 times 2x minus 5. Pause the video, give those a shot, and then come back to the video to see if you got those right. All right, so the important thing to remember is that we have to multiply each term inside our parentheses by the term on the outside. So on this first one, we have to have the 2 times the 5x. And here's where we have to be a little bit careful. It's a positive 2, so I'm going to write plus 2. But this 8 we have to read as a negative 8. That minus sign needs to stay with the 8. So it's going to be 2 times negative 8. Right? So then we have 2 times 5x makes 10x. And 2 times negative 8, a positive times a negative makes negative. 2 times 8 makes 16. Notice that this plus sign gets used as part of the multiplication, essentially. It's describing the 2 that's in the multiplication that makes this negative sign. The next one, we just have 4 times x plus 4 times 7 makes 4x plus 28. On this last one, we have to be very careful about our signs. We've got a negative 3 times a positive 2x, and then a negative 3, this negative coming from the 3, times a negative 5. This negative is coming from the minus 5 up above. So what we have then is negative 3 times 2x is negative 6x, and negative 3 times negative 5 is positive, right? A negative times a negative makes positive 15. All right, so now let's combine this skill of distribution with our combining like terms operation. So for example, what if we had to simplify 5 minus 3 times 2x plus 4? We may be tempted to do this 5 minus 3 first, but remember, PEMDAS, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, order of operations tells us first try to simplify inside your parentheses. Can we simplify anything inside there? We can't because they're not like terms. Then outside the parentheses, before we do the addition subtraction issue, we need to look for any multiplication. And this is a multiplication issue. We have negative 3 times 2x plus 4. So we have to deal with that before we deal with the 5 minus 3, the addition subtraction issue that's happening there. So first we're going to distribute that negative 3. We have negative 3 times the 2x and negative 3 times the positive 4. Now we can simplify those multiplications. We've got 5 minus 6x minus 12. Now that we're done with that multiplication step, now we can deal with all the addition subtraction issues we have. So I'm going to reorganize this. I've got the x term first, then a positive 5, then a negative 12. And now I can combine the 5 and the negative 12. I have negative 6x minus 7. I'm going to go ahead and give you 2 problems now to do on your own. So try these 2 problems. We've got 7 plus 2 times 3x minus 9 minus x. And let's be clear, that's a 3 down there. And the other problem I'd like you to do is 6 minus 2x plus 5. Pause the video, take a shot at simplifying both of those things, and then come back. All right, welcome back. Let's go ahead and run through these questions real quick. The first issue that we have to deal with here, we have an addition subtraction issue here and a subtraction issue back here, but we have this multiplication that we have to deal with first, the positive 2 times 3x minus 9. So that's going to be 7, and then it's going to be plus 2 times 3x, and plus 2 or positive 2 times negative 9. That minus x also still has to come down. We can simplify all of our multiplications. 2 times 3x is 6x. 2 times negative 9 is negative 18. The minus x comes down. Now I can reorganize and combine my like terms. I've got a 6x and a negative x, so that's 6x minus x. And I've got a 7 and a negative 18. So that 7 is positive, I'll write it as plus 7 minus 18. So this is going to give me 6x minus x is 5x. and positive 7 minus 18 is negative 12. Questions or concerns there? You can't ask me because this is a video. All right, last issue that we want to deal with is this, which doesn't look like distribution at first, so we have to think about how we're going to deal with this negative sign that's sitting in front of these parentheses. Right? The way that we can deal with that is we can think of this as essentially saying the same thing as 6 minus 1 of this group. So we have 6 minus 1 of 2x plus 5. You don't necessarily have to write that 1 there, but just recognize that we can think of this minus sign as being minus 1 times all this. So we'll distribute this negative sign as if it was negative 1. So we have 6, and then we have negative 1 times positive 2x, and negative 1 times positive 5. That's 6 minus 2x minus 5. We can reorganize. It's a positive 6. It's a minus 5. And then we can combine like terms. We end up with negative 2x plus 1. Yay!